Hello, everybody. Hello. It is Straight Talk Food for the Soul, and we're glad to be back Saturday night. And I have an amazing guest tonight, and I am not going to be doing a whole lot of talking tonight. Hope everybody's coming with pen and paper, preparing to start a new life. 2023 is the season for the saints. And this is Coach Jay. And I met him, believe it or not, on TikTok. I have been watching him for like 3 months. And finally, I just said, come on and be on my podcast. And he said, yes. So, Coach Jay, introduce yourself. Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Welcome everyone. Welcome. My name officially is Jazz Washington Brown, but everybody refers to me as Coach J. Ever since I started doing martial arts when I was 11, and I had a couple of schools and all that, so the name Coach J has stuck throughout that, all throughout my military career. And listen, I am just an average guy, just like everyone that's listening right now. And what I have done, I have built a community of like minded entrepreneurs and show them the business model of actually government contracting, how anyone could get into federal government contracting and make multiple six figures from home. And the key is without doing the physical work. And that's what I show up and coming entrepreneurs. And I show entrepreneurs that are already in the business, have a small business established. I teach and show them how they can take that and get it into the federal government system and have the federal government as their largest customer. So that's me in wrapped up in a nutshell.
I'm glad to have my folks on tonight. We're going to get our scripture, we're going to pray, and we're going to let Coach Jay teach. I'm not going to talk a lot tonight because he has the information, and I want to put it out there. What Coach Jay is teaching, he is going to be teaching to me. I am going to be part of the community. So I would not bring something to you that I would not do. I would not do it. And we're going to say hello to MIT Emerson tonight. We appreciate her coming in. Our scripture tonight is Proverbs 27 and 17. Iron sharpens iron, and one man sharpens another. So he is the iron tonight that's going to make us sharper because he has the right information. We're going to pray and get started. Father God, in the name of Jesus, God, we thank you for your goodness, your mercy, and for your kindness, for bringing us to this moment in time right now, God. God, if there are some like minded people tonight who believe that you want us to be financially free, let their ears and eyes be open. Let them know that we're not looking to steal anything from them, God, that we just want to pour into them and give them information. And it's up to them what they do with it. And God, we trust you tonight for everything. We trust you for this man that you have brought into my life that I can bring him into somebody else's life. And we thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. We're going to let you loose, coach. Go ahead.
Welcome everyone again. Again, my name is Coach Jay, and I teach entrepreneurs and upcoming entrepreneurs how to actually get started in the federal government contracting space. So we had a little bit of technical difficulties early on. I was trying to see if I was able to share my screen and all that, but y'all could actually just follow along with me if you have a side computer or anything like that. I show everyone how to get into federal government contracting. And I'm sure I'm not able to see the chat and stuff like that. So Minister Hutchinson will help me out once I'm getting it. So I basically target and focus on two genre of people. So Minister Hutchinson, are you able to see the chat and all that? So you can give
Yes,
me a little
sir.
bit of
Yes, sir.
feedback? Okay. So I always like to poll the room and poll the audience to see who am I talking about. So I generally talk to two genres of people. Either someone is new to entrepreneurship, they haven't started a small business yet, they don't really have an idea of what they want to get into, but they know they want to get into entrepreneurship and start a small business. So I speak to that first genre of people. So if that's you, if you're hearing me, and if that's you, you always wanted to get into entrepreneurship, you don't already have a small business or have a path that you want to take, You don't have a business already established. It will be brand new for you. If you're in the chat and stuff, put a one in the chat for me. Okay. And then on the other aspect of it, I speak to people who are already entrepreneurs, already have a small business, are somewhat into this game. I show them too as well how they can take that small business, regardless of what industry that small business is in, get it into the federal government system and have the federal government now as their largest customers. So they're able to galvanize their small business with another stream of revenue coming into that small business. So if that's you, you already have your foot in the door, you already have a small business of sorts, put a two in the chat, or put a two in the chat, or let Minister Hutchinson know that you are able, whichever camp you fall in. So let me know if we have a mixed crowd or if they're leaning more towards the other, so I know how to present and how basic to go here for you. Okay.
Right now, we're leaning more towards the two, and just about everybody on right now has some type of small business.
Perfect, perfect, good. So I am accustomed of speaking with a mixed crowd. So some of the stuff that I speak about will be a little bit elementary, but just know that you can use that. And I will give you all to a high level overview. So what I have done, I have taken it upon myself because I have found out that there are a lot of people that either don't know federal government contracting exists, or if they do know that there is the federal government contracting space, they believe that it's a lot of red tape or a lot of hoops they have to jump through in order to get into federal government contracting. So I took it upon myself to get onto social media, TikTok, Instagram, even on YouTube. I try to come on every single day and spread the information to show how simple it is to get into federal government contracting. And you can get into it with only three simple steps. Three simple steps. As I mentioned, and you will hear me reference it throughout our conversation tonight, I have taken my time of being in the military. I've taken my time of actually doing federal government contracting the way that I teach, that I'm still actively doing it today. And I also took my time and my experience of dealing with contractors and subcontractors in the private sector, and I've put it all together in a step-by-step process that anyone can follow. Anyone, either you're new to entrepreneurship or you already have a small business established, that you can actually follow, get into federal government contracting, and win federal government contracts. So you will hear me reference throughout tonight the FGC community. As you can see on my t-shirt, FGC. And FGC simply stands for Federal Government Contracting Simplified. We have simplified the process of federal government contracting. All right. So, a little myth that I have to dispel right off the bat. A lot of people believe, throughout my conversation, throughout me being on social media and expanding my reach and speaking to so many entrepreneurs or people who want to be entrepreneurs, they believe that this fallacy out there that in order to get into federal government contracting, you have to be in business for X amount of years. That is one myth that I would dispel tonight. And the other one is that it's so convoluted and it's so hard with all this legalese and red tape to get into federal government contracting that most people don't even think about it. All right. So we will jump right in. So I'll be asking some questions too as well. Now, if anyone in here has heard that it's a lot of red tape, or you have to be in business for X amount of years, put yes or no in the chat and let Minister Hudson reply that to me. Let me know if you all have heard that fallacy or that myth too as well.
Well, I'll say before I had conversations with you, and I have been in a private Zoom meeting with you, I thought it was a lot more red tape.
Okay, good.
I have one, Landria Walker says yes. Co-pastor Valerie Walker says yes.
Okay, see? And that's the main driving factor why I have come onto social media and spread the information. So let me give you, before we go into the three simple steps, and I hope you all take notes tonight.
Miranda said yes. Minister Miranda Edmondson said yes as well.
Okay, cool. So before I go into the actual process on how you could get started, and then I'll probably just give you all a quick overview, and I'd love to open it up for questions and all that so I can answer that. Okay. So when it comes to federal government contracting, I got a lot of questions. What is federal government contracting? How can I and who can I? The federal government, if you don't know, and again, please just don't take my word for, as gospel, but you can do your own research to fact check what I'm saying. The federal government last year alone spent over $9 trillion with a T when it comes to government spending. 9 trillion. That is goods and services that the federal government secures and procure in order for the federal government to keep their actual business and to accomplish the mission that they set at hand. When you think of the federal government, you have to think of the US military, all the military branches. You have to think of the Department of Prisons. You have to think of federal courthouses, Homeland Security, all these different agencies and departments that make up the federal government. You have to think of their personnel, and you also have to think of their equipment and facilities that they have to maintain and all of that in order to keep the business going. So the first thing that you have to understand, if you want to, or if this, podcast or this information piques your interest, you have to understand that when it comes to federal government contracting and getting into the federal government space, that the federal government is a business entity made up of different departments, FBI and stuff like we just mentioned. So the federal government, they do not do business with individuals, but they do business to business, B2B, business to business. So the very first thing, if you decide, hey, I wanted to get into federal government contracting, I want to get a little piece of that $9 trillion that the federal government is spending year over year when it comes to government contracting. The very first thing you need to understand is that the federal government does not do business with individuals. They do business to business or business with other entities. So if you want to get into federal government contracting, my very first advice and my very first step that I let everyone know, you have to formulate and establish an entity. And the quickest way to do that is an LLC, an LLC. So let me pause right here. So let me let you know that I have this question asked all the time. What will be the startup cost to get into federal government contracting? This is something that's interesting to me. I want to get in, but I know that there are so many other business ventures that takes a lot of startup capital or a lot of things to get into. So the startup cost to get into federal government contracting is what it will cost you, whoever is listening to me right now, whatever state you live in, it will cost you to get your LLC registered and filed in your state. So drop in the chat for me. Let Minister Hutchinson read this out. I know y'all may be on different places. Let me know what city and state that you live in.
Co-Pastor Valerie Walker is in Philadelphia.
Philadelphia, okay. In Philadelphia. So I got my computer down here, and my community, we use InkFile, but you can use whatever instrument you use to actually go onto your state, your Secretary of State, and find out what it is to actually get your LLC registered and filed in your state. So my community and I personally use InkFile. So on InkFile, I'll look at what are the costs in Pennsylvania. So in Pennsylvania, and again, y'all don't get mad at some states that y'all hear on here, okay? So in the state of Pennsylvania, if you decided that you're brand new, you don't already have a small business, and you want to get established in federal government contracting, in Pennsylvania, I'm looking here, it will cost you $131 to get your LLC registered and filed in your state if you use a website called InkFile. And what I like, and I always recommend InkFile, is that they would charge you what it will cost you to go directly to your Secretary of State and get that LLC registered and filed. So you can start your government contracting business in the state of Pennsylvania for $131.
I got one person who is in New Jersey and Alabama
All right, all right. In New Jersey, we're looking at 130, and you said Alabama.
Yes,
In the
sir.
state in the state of Alabama, we're looking at 236. 236 will be the
It,
cost to get your LLC registered and filed.
got somebody in Georgia.
All right. I'm in Georgia right now, enjoying your cold weather. In Georgia, it is $100. $100 to get your LLC
And
registered and
North
filed in your state.
Carolina.
North Carolina. All right. In North Carolina. To everyone that's, can't see my screen and all that, I'm using InkFile, INCFILE, InkFile. So, and again, you could use anything else. You could use Taylor Brands, you can use whatever else is out there. So in North Carolina, it is 128 to get your LLC started. Okay. Now, the beautiful thing of what I'm showing and the business model, because it's a business expense, you're starting a business, everything that you incur is also a tax write-off. So you can hold on to your receipts for establishing your LLC, for your cell phone bills and all of that from now on. And it could also, you keep it and get with your tax professional, and it's also a tax write-off too as well. All right. All right, so listen, that's the first step. The first step to get started in federal government contracting is to establish an LLC. If you already have a small business, regardless of what industry it's in, it could be for wigs, eyelashes, toothpicks, whatever you call it, you can use that too as well by just following the steps, okay? So that's the very first step. The second step, again, there's only 3 simple steps to get started. The second step, once you file for your LLC and you get your articles of incorporation, the next step is to go to the IRS website and you will get your free EIN number for that LLC. And I tell everyone, when you're following these steps, please follow it in order. Because if you try to get your EIN number before you establish your LLC, your EIN number will be tied to you and your social security number. But you want to get your articles of incorporation first, meaning that your LLC is filed and registered in your state. And once you have those, then you would go and file for your free EIN number. Now, your EIN number is free through the IRS website. There are some websites out there that will try to charge you $300-$400, I've heard, to actually file your EIN for you. But I'm telling everyone, it is absolutely free, and you can go down and you can get it within a couple of minutes. Once you get that EIN paperwork, you will save it in a safe place because your EIN is like your social security number for your business. That's it. That's step 2. That's a simple step. And again, for those that already have a small business established, you should already have your LLC and your EIN because you use that to open, like a business bank account and all that. So you have those 2. And once you get those 2 pieces of information, then we go on to step 3, the final step in the 3-step process of getting started in federal government contracting. You would go to a website called sam.gov, sam.gov, sam.gov. So sam.gov is the official website of the US government, and it is 100% free. It is 100% free. You will take your articles of incorporation, that LLC that you just found, you will take your EIN number, and then you would register that business inside of sam.gov, the official website of the federal government. And once you've gone through the registration process, the federal government is now able to award your business federal government contracts. And that's the 3 simple steps to get started in federal government contracting. You notice I didn't say anything about a website. You notice I didn't say anything about getting licenses. You notice I didn't say anything about getting insurance or anything, or a business, even a business plan. That is not required, especially the way that I show you on how to get started in federal government contracting. Those are the 3 simple steps. Now, y'all let me know, was that the simple process that you had in mind, or did you think that it was a lot more red tape to jump in and get started?
I'm gonna be the first one to jump in. before I met you 3 months ago.
Uh-huh.
I thought this was going to be a huge process. Even when I went on the private Zoom with you, we were
Hmm.
able to ask all the questions to get the fog out of our brain. And I know it's going to be work, but not the craziness of feeling like I had to be this huge entity and it couldn't be my little old cleaning business, which I have my LLC, that
Right.
I could just get started because I already had my EIN number. I thought I had to do something else creative and having business cards and all this other stuff to get
Right. Right.
started. And I didn't need any of that stuff.
Yep, yeah, yeah, that's so true. And I get hear it all the time. Again, you didn't hear me mention anything about business credit. You didn't hear me mention anything about going to try to get funding. It's those are the three simple steps to get started. And
Um, um, Everybody's saying it's great information. And most of my friends, I have to say, most of
mm-hmm,
my friends are business owners.
mm-hmm,
Um,
mm-hmm,
I kind of move in the same circle. I don't
mm-hmm.
take my information from my neighbor because they live next door to me. I'm just gonna be honest. They're
Right,
gonna give me what they have. So, I have to upscale a little bit. So most of my friends are pastors, they are preachers, they are business owners, they are teachers, they're doctors, they're lawyers. So that's who's on tonight, and that's who are listening. My sisters in Christ who really believe that God says that we should have more. So you're speaking to some individuals whose minds are already set that they need better.
perfectly, perfect, perfect. I didn't show if I mentioned this at all during our little side conversations. But I'm also a licensed minister. I'm also a pontificate
I
of the
didn't know
gospel
that.
too as well.
I didn't
uh,
know that.
Yes, yes, yes. So yeah, so we could get into that later on. Yes, I covered a couple of young adults ministries and all that. So I'm still very pretty much active in it too as well. So
So okay,
all
I do
right.
have somebody, Elder
Uh-huh.
Clancy. Someone, did you do it for me? However, do you change? How do you change so much from LLC? Okay, I'm trying to let me read what she has. And
No
Elder
problem.
Clancy, you may have to make it better. It says someone did it for me. However, why do we have to change so much for LLC? What can it says, why can't we be honest? I'm not sure, Elder, what you're asking.
Yeah. So remember that I said early on that the simplest process and way to get in is with an LLC. And the cost per your state has to do with the state and whatever they charge in your state. But even if your small business is a S corp or a C corp, you can still use that. It has to be an entity. It doesn't have to be an LLC. It can be an LLC taxed as an S corp. It can be an S corp. It could be a C corp. You can use that and get it registered and filed in the system, and now you can use that to get federal government contracting. Now, the only nonprofit that I know of that's in the space, because again, what I speak about and all that I teach is for profit. The only nonprofit that I know of is the actual church, because we actually hire ministers and elders to go to the prisons to minister and to do all of that. And they work for either the diocese and all that, which is a nonprofit. And they actually, what we pay them, they donate it or do something with it. So it is a possibility as well. So I think he was asking how, or him or her, sorry, why do they charge for that
Yeah.
LLC? Yeah, that's all on the state. The state got to
Oh,
get their cut somehow.
yeah. And I say again, if we want to, so to say to my viewers, this has to be a legal business. That's
Yes,
why you have
yes.
to go through your state and the government. When you do this, and I'm talking Coach Jay, so I have a little more information than you guys. When you do this, the government is paying your LLC or your S corp. They're not sending a check to a person. They're sending it to the entity.
Correct,
So,
correct.
and Coach, I got some questions
Sure,
because when
sure.
I first met you, I'm
Hmm.
getting a government contract. how am I getting paid for this? Say first the contract is in California and I live in
Mhm.
Atlanta. How's this work? How's it work?
Sure, sure, sure. So let me give you some peripherals first, and then I'll answer your question. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So those three things that I talk about are the essential three simple steps to get started. So now these are some questions that I get. So these are recommended, but they are not needed to get started. And I have to emphasize that way. Okay. So when I first got started, I used my personal bank account. I use my personal phone number. I use my personal free email address like Yahoo in order to get started. So it's not needed. But if anyone I'm advising is getting into this space, I would I would always advise them get a professional business email address. You will get the domain. So if your company's name is um, ABC, you will get whatever your first name is, abc at yahoo.com. At that dot com, you buy that domain so you can get that domain professional email address. You already have the EIN number. You can simply open a business bank account so you can keep your business funds separated from your personal funds so there is no commingling of funds. That is just good business practice. If for whatever reason you don't have a business account, just open a separate personal account that you can keep separate from your business. But I would advise everyone get a business account, okay?
Coach, I
And
got a
then,
couple of questions for you go
sure,
further.
sure,
Elder
sure.
Clancy, she's asking a question. She
Okay.
says, why do people, no, can Clancy Vending receive a contract?
Yes, as long as your LLC, regardless of the name, regardless of the industry it's in, as long as your LLC is registered and filed and in active good standings in your state, you are able to go through the three process that I just stated out and get into federal government contracting and win and secure federal government contracts.
Okay, my next question is from co-pastor Valerie Walker. She says, what are some of the other steps after you register your LLC in the website?
Perfect. So after you register your LLC, and that's what we'll get into. So let me go through the whole process and let me tell everyone, and then I'll open up the questions so we can go from there. I can elaborate more. So after you follow those three steps and your business is now registered inside of the federal government system called sam.gov, you are able to go after any federal government contract that's out there that regardless of what state it's in, regardless of what experience you have, and this is what I would show you. We win federal government contracts, and then we subcontract out the physical portion of that contract to a local subcontractor who has the experience, the equipment, and the know how to complete that actual work. And we actually get the money on top of that, just for connecting those two. A lot of people refer to it as the middleman process. So we are between the federal government and the actual physical subcontractor that's doing the work, the middleman process. So let me give you an example. The federal government on sam.gov will put out solicitations, and all solicitations are as the federal government has a need and they're requesting it from us as the public to actually fulfill it for them. So the federal government will need porta potty rented. They want porta potty rented at the courthouse. They're doing some renovation at the courthouse downtown San Francisco. You live in Alabama. You find these contract opportunities on sam.gov. You find the contract opportunities that the federal government is needing 15 porta potties rented at the facility in San Francisco. You read the description of what the federal government is looking for, and we find subcontractors that has those porta potties in that local area of San Francisco to provide a quote for us for what they will cost to deliver these porta potties and then maintain them for whatever period the federal government is asking for. Once we get a quote from them saying, let's say the quote is $5,000, the federal government the subcontractors will rent to us these porta potties for $5,000 a month and service them too as well each week. And they will be wanted for 12 months. Once we get our quote, we will put our profit on top of it. Let's say we put $800 on top of it. So our quote to the federal government to say, hey, we are able to fulfill this contract opportunity or solicitation. We are able to produce it for you for $5,800 a month. The federal government loves our price, and we provided all the right documentation. So they award my company the actual contract to supply these porta potties for 12 months for $5,800 a month. Once my company has been awarded that contract, I would then hire that subcontractor who provided me the quote for $5,000 and have them deliver the porta potties to the location and service it once a month. Once a month, after they go out and service it, they would send me an invoice and bill me for $5,000. I would invoice the federal government for $5,800. The federal government will pay me, and then I would pay my subcontractor $5,000, and I keep my profit of $800 a month coming in for the next 12 months off of that, just that one contract. And now there is no limit on the amount of contracts that you can hold, and no amount of the limit on the amount of contracts you could go after. So now I could have residual income coming in for contracts that I've won and secured through the federal government without doing the physical work. So to answer your question, what are the next steps? We teach you, especially in our community, how to find these contracts on what the federal government is asking for, how to find the subcontractors for them to provide you a quote, how to submit everything to the federal government, and then manage the contracts after that.
Okay, Coach, I got a question from Pastor Bonner. She
All right.
says, am I legally liable if the subcontractor fails to deliver or damages are incurred since I established the business relationship between the company and the subcontractor?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Ultimately, you are responsible because you are the contract. The federal government is awarding your business the contract. But remember that I told you that we are not the one that's physically doing the work. So if there is any insurance to be had, the subcontractor insurance will be in place and will take care if they damages anything or causes any damages while they're actually on the site. Their contractor, their insurance policy, or any insurance that's needed will take care of that.
Okay, and Coach said that, and let me break it down for us that don't know, because I've had conversation and I've been in some, had more time with him. Say, for instance, they damaged the porty potty. When you're getting that subcontractor, the federal government is already telling you inside what they have to have, and they're going to say they have to have insurance. So when he teaches us how to find a subcontract, we're only going to pick the ones that have the insurance to cover for their damages. So that's why he says we are liable, but we're really not.
Mhm.
I hope,
Eh,
and then I have somebody named Scotty Shepherd, and they're new. I've never seen them. Welcome for coming. They say it sounds complicated.
I don't know how complicated it sounds, so but that's the name of our community, simplifying the process. So let me simplify the process for you. The only prerequisite to get into federal government contracting, you have to be able to read and comprehend. That's it. If you can do that, you can do federal government contracting. So if it sounds complicated, let me let you know two things. The federal government, all these contract opportunities or solicitation that they put out on sam.gov, they actually need that. And if you know anything about federal government spending, the federal government is encouraged and incentivized to spend all the money that they have in order for them to increase their budget for the next fiscal year. So if they are given $2 trillion this year to spend on goods and services they need, they would try to spend $3 trillion. So therefore, next year their budget will increase. So because they actually need whatever product or services they are looking for, and two, they're encouraged to spend the money they have, the federal government does not dance in the gray area. They would make everything as crystal clear as it is. So if they want the porta potties, they will tell you how much they want. They will tell you what color. They will tell you what size. They will tell you how frequent they want it to be cleaned. They will leave nothing up for guests. That's how clear the federal government will be. And they would always assign what is called a point of contact or a contract specialist to that opportunity. So if you have any questions, if you need any clarity, they are there to provide that for you. So it really isn't that difficult.
And I don't know Scotty Shepherd, and I've owned a business most of my life. I've worked for people, but I've always wanted to work for myself. My issue has been that I can't buy time back. And what
That's
coach
it.
is
Yeah.
teaching, it will give me the time that I desire because I own a cleaning business right now and I physically sometimes are in the building. Just recently,
Right.
my daughter made sure, because I'm 58 now, Mom, you put in the time. She brought me out of physically doing it. But then again, we're kind of accustomed. If we can't touch it and feel it and see it, we might not believe it's true.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And what I wanted to say to you, you have a way. Right now, y'all got to go through me. But coach will set it up where you can be in a private Zoom conference with him. His computer's up. He's showing you the letters. He's showing you how to get the contract. He's showing you every website to go on. This is just a little taste to whet what you already desire.
Yep.
This is just a little bit. So hopefully it's what you want. Co-pastor Valerie said, what are the upfront cost instructions on us obtaining these contracts?
So, as I mentioned, the only upfront cost to get started in federal government contracting, if you don't already own a small business, is for you to get started with getting your LLC registered and filed. So if you already have a small business, there is no upfront cost to you to get in and get started. None. So let me pause here and give a there are once you get into federal government contracting, and anyone here can go on to sam.gov and actually search to see the contract opportunities that are out there available for you and I, everyone that's out there. Right now, there are over 4.5 million contract opportunities of the federal government looking for goods and services that they actually need. This list is updated with over 96,000 plus contract opportunities daily. Daily, that list is renewed and new contract opportunities are put out there. Okay, so there are two types of contract opportunities out there. There are products, meaning that the federal government physically want a product. Either they want some bars of soap, either they want iPads. And if you and I know that the federal government does not buy single items, they buy in large quantities. Okay. So there are products, and then they are considered services that they want someone to come out and perform some type of service at a facility or at a particular location. So products and so we teach everyone, for all those are new, are coming into federal government contracting space, that if you go after service-based solicitations or service-based contract opportunities, there is an industry standard called a net 30, meaning that they do the work first and then they invoice you for the work that was just completed. Remember, the mindset is that we are a business seeking services from other businesses. So in the industry, it's called B2B, net 30. So if you go after service-based contracts first, the actual subcontractor does the work first and then invoice you. So you have time to build the federal government pays you, and then you pay your subcontractor. So there is no upfront cost to us that once you're going after service-based contract opportunities. But on the other side, the product-based solicitation, because we're a new business and we are contacting a distributor or a manufacturer, let's say to order 20,000 iPads, we are new to them. So they may require us to put a deposit down before they can actually ship out their equipment or their merchandise. And then they would invoice us to pay the balance within that 30 days. So if you're going after service-based contracts, there is no upfront cost to you.
Coach, thank you, because that
No
kind of
problem.
was gonna be my question.
Yes,
Does
yes.
anybody else have any questions that they want to ask right up front right now? Because I kind of been trying to answer them as we've been going.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Mostly my podcast is a little different,
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
but this is the heart of what I want to do. I want to provide information for the kingdom.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
There's no reason for me to have this platform and have people to follow me if I can't give them what they need. And freeing up your time, giving you the opportunity to be with your family when you want to be with your family, not choosing to leave your wife when she's pregnant to go to a job. When you
Yeah.
get up and see everybody on the expressway at 6 a.m. in the morning, they're not doing that because they want to.
Yep, yep.
I have 10 children. I worked a job and worked my business. It just
Yeah,
wasn't what I really wanted to do. So I'm just putting the information out for you.
yeah.
We do have a question. Do you have classes? If so, how long? How much? Live Zoom. And I know Elder Clancy, she is a teacher and she is boom, boom, boom all the time. But I'm going to
So,
say this, he does have classes. He does have a private Zoom. And what we're going to do is, as soon as we get off tonight,
mm-hmm.
I am going to have his email and I'm going to put it out there. And if you really want this, you're going to email Coach so that you can be in a private Zoom so he can answer every question that you want.
That's right.
This
That's right.
platform, he would not be able to give up all that information. That is so much information for a 45-minute to an hour segment.
Yeah.
But you can do it. I have been in the private zone. He's on TikTok every single day, giving out the same information he's giving to you, and he's not charging for the information he's giving tonight. So, Elder Clancy, I'm going to make sure that I send you his email tonight, but I will have his picture on my Facebook platforms, on my TikTok with his email address, or how else would you want them to contact you?
Sure. So what I will do, again, my website, I try to keep everything as simple as process. That's why my whole community is called FGC Simplified. So if you type in FGC Simplified on any social media platform, you will find my website, you will find my social media, my YouTube. I would encourage anyone if you have more questions and all, and I would give Minister my direct, just for her audience and anybody else that she sends it out, I will give her my direct email address. So once I know information or people are requesting information based off of that email address, I know where they got it from. All right. So, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to me. If you want to schedule a one-on-one with me, I'll provide you that information too as well. But I share as much information as possible to get people interested to get started. To get started, again, because there is so much rumor and fallacy about how to get started. I share that information every day, as Minister was saying, for free. I tell everybody, these are the simple steps to get started. Once you get started and you said, okay, this is for you, this is where my community comes in that we have built. We have a step-by-step process that we have actually walked you through from point A to point B and beyond of learning the government contracting system. So if you do any research, um, anyone who does not have a process or a system, if you are just getting into federal government contracting, you follow my free steps, and then you want to actually go through and learn from trial and error on how to actually win your first federal government contract. It takes the average person, according to the data that's out there, at least 2 years to win their first federal government contract. Compare that to people that's inside our community. Now, our community is more than just federal government contracting, but people in our community who are winning their first federal government contract within the first 4 to 5 weeks from knowing nothing about federal government contracting to winning their first federal government contract in 4 to 5 weeks. So that's the beauty of having a mentor or having someone that's actually coming back from where you're trying to get to. So I would implore anyone, if you find this information interesting to you, and again, it doesn't even have to be me, but shorten that learning curve and find someone that can show you the process. Because again, it's not difficult at all, but you have to understand the process.
And I will say, I have watched a few other guys
Mhm.
on TikTok because that's where I met Coach. And if they do give the same information and they show how simple it is, but I'm just going to say, I just have a trust for him because he was very honest up front. He didn't hide any information. When I asked about the classes, he was very clear. When I asked about the training, he was very clear. That I look for red flags when I meet people. Coach doesn't have any because he's gonna do it whether we do it or not. He's gonna make money whether we make money or not.
Yeah,
He doesn't have anything to lose if we don't get in and do it.
yeah.
And I'm doing the disclaimer for him.
So
Just about
listen,
everybody's kind of on here. You guys know me. So go ahead, Coach.
no, I was going to say, and I tell everyone that I'm in the trenches with you. The information that I share is fresh and it's relevant. It's nothing that I learned 4 or 5 years ago that I'm now just regurgitating to you, but I am in the trenches. Again, if you come on my private Zoom or my one-on-one, I show you all the receipts. I show you the contracts that I'm currently working. I show you my account, what's being paid out on the contracts. Because again, there are 96,000 updated daily, updated daily on SAM.gov. Once you learn the process, it's up to you on however or how much you want to go after. And that's what I show you. There is enough out there that everyone can sit at the table and eat without having to, hide it. And that's why she said right away, even if you don't, and that's why I am not ashamed to say, even if you don't learn from me, find someone else that will teach you the process. There is enough out there.
So I hope I gave you guys enough information to at least whet your appetite that you will at least get in a private Zoom so you can ask the meaty questions. And I'm going to tell you, I've seen his receipts.
Hmm.
He showed us literally how simple it is. He's shown us real contracts that he has. So that's why I have no problem speaking up for him. And I wouldn't tell you something that coach is going to teach me. I've been talking to my business partners. I've been talking to my children. I've been talking to my friends at church. I've been delivering the information. That's
Yeah.
all we're here to do. And
Let me see.
co-pastor says, that's good. Thanks for the invitation, minister.
No problem, no problem. Listen, I'm seeing a question on the screen. It says, so if I'm clear, so you are basically doing your own legwork once you get into the website. I think I'm not sure if you're talking about the sam.gov website. So let me see if I could I think that's what you're asking. So correct me if I'm wrong. I see it came from Facebook. So once you register your business in the sam.gov database, that website, and the federal government can verify you and you're now able to award you and give you federal government contract, yes. Again, you would never hear me or anyone in this space say that it is a passive form of income, meaning that you don't have nothing to do. That's why I'm very careful with my words. And I say all the time that we don't do the physical work. There is still work on our end to be done, but it's not physical. I don't have to go to San Diego to clean windows. I don't have to go to Washington, D.C. to cut grass. I don't have to do that. All I have to do is to make sure that the work is done and send an invoice. But because I'm not physically doing the work, as Minister Hutchinson said, I can now divide my time and multiply my mind instead of my hands and have other people do the physical portion of it, and I collect the revenue and the income for that. So I hope I answered your
Okay.
question.
Yes, I have Minister Edgehill, and he said
Mhm.
I would encourage to follow up as I try to ensure contracts that are available. Minister Edgehill, I'm not sure what you're asking, but again, this is the way you get your detail. Let's get in a private Zoom. Let's get in front. And I may not be, because I'm going to have to be in another one to get my refresher, because I am going to do this.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
have an 80-year-old mom sitting here tonight while we're going live. I would love for her to have some extra money.
That's
I
right.
love for her when COVID is not as late way it is. She still wants to go on cruises. She'd like to get a new car. I would like to be one of her children that gives her the new car.
That's right.
I got to find a way to do it. But if I don't have the time, the space, the resource, and the money, and going and physically doing the work, I'm not going to do it. So, Coach, is there any last thoughts you want to give? Because, like I said, you are going to give me your personal email. Make sure when he gives you the personal email, you say Minister Claudette, Minister C, Minister Hutchinson, so he knows that you were part of this tonight, so he can get you in there. He said he would do a one-on-one. Make sure you say my name so you can get, because I'm going to tell you, there are folks that pay to sit and talk with him, and he's doing this because he's connected to me, and I appreciate you, Coach.
That's
I do,
correct. I
really do.
appreciate you. Listen, I am so glad you listened to the Holy Spirit to let you know that, hey, reach out to me and you realize that I'm a real person. I'm a real person that talks back on the other side of the other side of the TikTok screen. So, you know, so listen, my motto and the theme and the aim for my community is to build wealth and build financial freedom through this business model of federal government contracting. After you do your research, you would find out that I did not invent federal government contracting. I did not invent this process that I teach as the middle person. I have just simplified it and put it into a digestible format that anyone can follow and can actually show success. Again, my community is more than just federal government contracting. It's an atmosphere of entrepreneurs that are networking, but they're using federal government contracting as the seed money to branch out into other entrepreneurial veins. So I invite everyone in here. Again, it does not have to be me, but the federal government has so much money. There are billions of dollars set aside for small business, for minority owned, for women owned, for so many businesses that they have to spend on small businesses that are women owned and all that year after year. And the expending is actually increasing and not getting smaller. So.
Coach, your normal Zoom, is it, do you have a certain night that you do your Zoom call?
So I invite everyone on TikTok, and when I go on TikTok Live, that I do a webinar, Zoom webinar, where I show more about the community and a little more in depth. I do that on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But again, for you and your audience, if you want to get a group together too as well, and just let me know. I will carve out time for you, and I would have a private Zoom for everybody that you invite. I can do that for you too as well.
Okay.
No problem.
Well, Coach, I
All
know
right.
you're in Atlanta hanging out with your
I
wife,
am. I
and
am.
I do not want to keep you from her, but I appreciate the information tonight. I
Yes.
will, to everybody that's been on tonight, just about everybody, I have your personal number.
Yes.
Coach is going to send me his personal email tonight. I will have it to you no later than tomorrow, 6 p.m. And if you guys want to give me some dates where you want to do it, even if we have to do 2 or 3 with you guys, but he has a set one every Wednesday at 7 p.m. I mean, easy to
Yep.
jump on it. Just jump on it, jump on it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I appreciate you, Coach. Thank you so much.
No
You know I'm
problem.
gonna be in contact with you, right?
I
You
know.
already
Yeah.
know. I'm looking to learn and eat up what you know. And I'm gonna tell everybody tonight before we go. Don't bring what you already know to the table. Come with a clear mind, a clear heart, pen and paper, and just digest the information.
Hmm.
If you come and try to put in what you know, you may not get all that you need to get from one business owner to another. Every time I've been mentored, I have been a great follower, not just a great leader.
That's right.
I don't
That's
know
it.
what else I can say tonight other than
Ain't,
Coach.
ain't
I
no better
say
word.
thank you for being a great brother.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for being a great business owner, a great husband, taking care of your wife, doing something and stretching yourself so that we can have this opportunity tonight.
Hey, the pleasure is mine to be used as a vessel anywhere I can. So
And I honor you for your time tonight. I honor you.
thank you.
And I love all of my folks for coming on tonight. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Because you could be anywhere else on a Saturday night, but
Hmm.
you chose to hang out with us tonight. So I want to say I love you guys. And we're going to wrap up another episode of Straight Talk Food for the Soul. Love you. Coach, send me the information and I'm going to get it out by tomorrow.
It's on this way. All right. God
Enjoy
bless
your
you.
time in Atlanta. Good night,
I will.
everybody.
All right.
Bye.